that. Yeah, so call to order the regular monthly meeting of the Norwalk Parking Authority, and we will open the meeting with public comment. So if there is no public comment, then we'll take a discussion and action on the minutes from the last meeting. Are there any items to discuss? And if not, I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, Matt.
Second.
Thank you, Judd. All in favor? Aye.
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 And no opposed, so that motion carries. Okay, so financial operating report.
Okay, hi everybody.
Thanks,
Rocky, you gonna steer here?
I don't think Rocky is on. Do you need me to pull up the report?
I think he's on.
Is he on?
Yeah, Rocky, you're on mute.
Yes, I'm on, Jim.
All right. Are you gonna share the screen?
Sure. Jim.
I have to stop sharing?
Yes.
Okay. You should be able to take over.
All right, perfect. So, so this month marks the end of the fiscal year. And as you can see from the financial summary that we ended the year on a good note, favorable to budget at the end of the year. June was pretty strong, even though it looks like a big negative. It's been favorable enough to budget for the year end that we had enough to include a $250,000 accrual for safety related repairs in to Webster and Haviland. So even after that, we are favorable to budget, and which is a great sign. Compared to, let's see, if we slide down, the month-to-date comparisons, you know, of course, and compared to last year are all favorable, as we would continue to expect as we've come out of the pandemic. And if you scroll down to the variances, I did mention that we had the $250,000 accrued. We split that 50-50 after talking with Jim to each of those locations, and we can make adjustments as we need to, depending on the final cost of the work that gets done. The one that was the main thing of note on the variance report. On the revenue side, monthly and transient has been lower, continues to come from the rail facilities, and the meter and violation revenue continues to be higher than budget. And just one note that I made there on that violation revenue compared to pre-COVID, that's actually wrong. I need to update that. That's not correct. It is actually higher than it was pre-COVID. And in thinking a little bit more about that too, in 2019 or after 2019, actually in fiscal year 20 was when all the Wall Street pay stations were installed. That was in September. So that added about 225 spaces to the system, in addition to another 18 or so on West Ave. Just for you to keep in the back of your minds as we talk about, enforcement and violations.
Does that also include the beach?
It does not. I think we had this question before, and Rocky, am I wrong?
The revenue, the violation revenue includes both in 2019-20, the beach violation, correct? It does.
Yeah.
Oh, so it does.
Yes.
I'd be curious to know how much of that is the beach.
So let me make a note and we can find that and get that to everybody.
If I may, Sathi, coming from last meeting, you were going to provide a breakdown of where the violations are coming from, and we did not receive that ahead of this meeting.
Yeah, I apologize for that. Let me see. Rocky, do we have any of that here?
I have it, but I have it in an Excel file. It a quick just for the month, Matt, that I did it, and the majority of it's coming from the Sono area. The ticket issuance is coming from the Sono area.
So actually, Rocky, is that the what you sent me?
Yes, I sent it to you. Yeah.
Oh, let me just pull it up and I can read it or share the screen if we needed to. Bear with me, Matt.
Matt, this is Jim, and I didn't clear this with Staffy, so I hope he doesn't take offense, but we might be a little challenged. So Staffy had a death in the family during the past month, so that's created a little bit of a latency in getting the report out, and I'm sure probably played a bit of that, but I think well, we sent our condolences to him and his family, but if something is remiss this month, it is most likely due to something beyond our control. So.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Jim. Yeah, it was my father who passed last week, so I've been kind of a little off. And matter of fact, I got this report, which is usually a little sooner, but I got that to Maritza a little late. So okay, here, so ticket issuance in June was Sono. You know what, maybe should I share my screen so you can see it, or I'm gonna just read it off?
Yeah, could you share it?
Sure.
So Rocky, you need to stop sharing, okay.
So let me share. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
All right, that came from Rocky. So we've got so that's basically the breakdown number of tickets for the month and by geographic area. So the Sono streets, these are the lots, Wall Street, on street, and off street, and those two other locations.
Okay, so maybe if we could just add the beach to this too, then this is great.
And is this something that you think you might want to see regularly in the report? Like, should we add a page? Or is this something you just want ad hoc when you're thinking about it, we pull it up?
I think I'd like to see it monthly. That's okay.
Sure.
So I think we can make sure to prepare it monthly. Staffy, I'd like to just chat a little bit because I think I would like to see number of spaces included in here because it could sway where you would see something, because Sono has higher number of parking spaces available. So we just want to make sure that there's an adequate representation between the spaces and the ticket issuance.
Okay, yeah, so we can huddle up and we'll tweak this and format it, the way you think might be better.
Okay.
So, okay, I'll stop sharing it unless anybody else has a question on it.
I think just to push it out a little further, it looks to me like the kind of information that would be good to have in a graph also.
Okay. Yep. All right. Oops. Then I'll stop sharing. And then Rocky can take back over. Okay, and moving on to the COVID versus pre-COVID analysis. In that same vein, these the note about total revenue being greater than pre-COVID is actually wrong. I think those numbers must have been pulled from June 2020 possibly. So I need to update this and correct it and get together with James on where some of those numbers got pulled. But so we'll make sure we correct that. Actually, when we look at year over year to pre-COVID, from 19, the full 12 months, to 22, the full 12 months, we are at about 87% of pre-COVID levels when it comes to the revenue. And that's where we are now. When when you kind of break that down, it's really monthly and transient. That's that's been off 76 and 70% of pre-COVID levels, respectively. And then the system-wide activity, that's just demands. Year to date, we're at about 93% of pre-COVID levels, and the revenues 88%. Even with the drop off in January due to the Omicron variant. So you'll notice too that in the report, if you looked at it prior to, that I added fiscal year 19. That I think was a request that somebody had. So our discussions as they compare to pre-COVID levels, you can see it graphically. So that blue line is fiscal year 19. And the purple one is 2022. So when you see that, by facility, you can see kind of what's been going on and how on street has really taken a jump. And scrolling down, total revenue.
I think it was also interesting to look at that for the on-street, significant increase, but we're also seeing some pretty good increase in the Haviland parking deck as well. Your report showed. So I think we are seeing return somewhere. We have into Connecticut Condat Rail looking for some adjusted ridership numbers. We are seeing an increase. Don't know exactly what that percentage is, but in some instances, we're seeing that rise. We're certainly seeing some interesting trends of something for us to watch. Weekends are very strong in those numbers, and the weekday kind of fluctuates. So we're seeing probably some altered schedule, like 3 days a week going into the city, but we're seeing a trend that I think starts to warrant us to pay a little bit more attention to what a new normal might look like.
Yeah, and a good point to Jim's point. If you look at the Webster graph, the bar graph, and the South Norwalk Railroad Station, I know the East Norwalk ones, the numbers are just so low they barely show up, but you can see that jump up from last year. It's not at pre-COVID, but it is getting better. So that's good. Permit sales on page 6 has been pretty stable, even though it's been lower than it's been in the past. That's been at year to date about 76% of where we were, and that translates into the revenue as well. And then the on-street activity, you can see that as well. That's been, of course, everything's up compared to last year, but you can see that purple line, compared to the blue line, which is the pre-COVID threshold, pre-COVID benchmark that we're using, and you can see how that is positively trending and coming back and above pre-COVID levels. And the pay by sales transactions on street is just phenomenal. And, you know, maybe kind of a result of COVID and kind of a touchless option that people were looking for. Then moving on to enforcement, you can see those levels higher than pre-COVID, as we talked about, and on the revenue side as well. And then moving to Judd's report, we did add, you know, that 2019 as requested. And I guess the good news is from this report is that the ratio of tickets to demands has dropped down in June.
Typically a trend down since the beginning of the year, really, except for a little blurb, but you're
Yeah,
still trending down.
Right.
I think we still need to do, we can still do a better job of you know, getting more people to pay, but I think I think our signage at the beach, which we'll talk about, you know, is positive, and we have some other things that we would like to present to you soon with some other ideas. And
the pay by sale activity, like we talked about, has just been kind of through the roof, which is a great sign as well, as we get more, you know, cash out of the system. So unless there's any other questions, that completes my report. Rocky, anything that we missed?
No, no.
Okay, yeah, and apologies if this was a little broken up as I delivered this today. And thank you again for the beautiful flowers, the plant that you guys sent. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you have our deepest condolences.
Thank you, Staffy. Sorry to hear about the news. Okay, so if there's nothing further on this, then Jim.
So, so Chair, if I could ask that maybe we take out of order. I know that Vanessa is on board, and we've had quite a long day here, and maybe she could go next and then sign off.
Sure.
It's okay with you?
Fine with me. Yeah.
Okay. Vanessa.
Sure. Thank you. Just let's get my stuff ready here.
Oh, sorry to get you off.
No problem. I just appreciate. Okay, so the South Norwalk train station, we still continue the work there. Kpis is there. We have 100% of the northwest facade done. The southern helix also has been power washed 100%, and the northern one. We're about 90% of the southeast elevation power wash, so we should be finishing that soon. And all the courts on those areas that we already completed the power wash is pretty much done. We still have a couple of extension joints that were installed, and we have one more that needs to be done. And now currently they work on a joint ceiling and on the power wash near the Danbury track. And then they're gonna go around on that southern helix part of it. We also we just picked the tints that will go on those glass windows. I do not have a schedule for that work yet because we just picked the tint, and then we need to see how long it will take first to get the material. So just remind you, I think that by our original contract, that work was supposed to finish in August, but there were a couple of change orders that we did. So they're probably gonna extend a little bit the time that they're going to be working there. The only thing that I do not know exactly when will be that final date is because now it's pending when the material for the glass will come. Do you guys have any questions?
Great, thank you, Vanessa. So What's the rest of the life of that project, timing wise?
Say it again, Eric.
How much longer is the project going to go on?
Well, the base schedule was until August for them to finish the work, and they're pretty much on schedule. But the problem is that we ended up adding more work. So originally we ended up doing the change on those windows that add a lot of time to the contract, and now they have to add that film that will be the tint that will go over the glass.
Okay.
So with that, I do not know when the material is going to come, so I don't have the schedule for that yet.
Okay. All right, great.
But I would say probably like early fall, we should be out of there.
Okay. Great, thank you. So Jim, if that's it for Vanessa, then Vanessa, thank you. It's good seeing you over the tele wires here or whatever, the airwaves.
Thank you so much. Same here. Have a good night, everyone.
Thanks,
you.
Vanessa.
So Jim, just in the spirit of that thought, Todd is on also.
Okay. So so that would probably be great. Todd, are you able to speak earlier?
Yeah, sure. I'm ready to go when you are.
Okay. Chair, did you want to take him out of order?
That's fine, unless someone objects. That's totally fine with me.
No, I think it's a great idea. All right, Todd, the show is yours. Let me stop sharing so that if you need the screen, it is yours.
That would be great. Okay. Thanks for inviting me in. I have this. There, can you see a bright red field with City of Norwalk and NPA Board of Directors on it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I have a brief presentation for you guys and ladies tonight to recap some of our involvement with marketing and promotion in Norwalk, as well as some of the results that we have on the campaign so far. We have been working with the city and with the Norwalk Parking Authority under 3 different contracts. It started with the business and parking promotion piece that includes NPA that was initiated in November of 2020, followed by a contract with the Office of Business Development and Tourism to start promoting tourism that was started in January of 21, and then another piece through Sabrina and Jess's office to support economic and community development that was initiated this past November of 2021. So overall, our involvement has encompassed this scope of services: brand creation, including naming and logo development, development of websites, adding to the photography, as well as video stock for promotional efforts, developing the social media channels and implementation. As I mentioned, launching the websites, having a promotion plan, and then doing ongoing strategic promotion and an ad plan, developing some print materials and some regular reporting of our key performance indicators, which I'll cover in just a moment. In coming up with a campaign that promotes Norwalk as a destination, we established these marketing goals, create a distinct identity for Norwalk as a great place to explore, dine, shop, play, and stay. We can include work and other things in there as well too. And then some of the measures or KPIs that we put in place are certainly, direct engagement with the campaign itself, website clicks, social media likes, follows, inquiries to the Office of Tourism, et cetera. Direct business and attraction visits, which we have some measurement on. I can show you in a minute as well. And the resulting revenue, retention, and development of customers. And then, hopefully some spinoff revenue to the city in terms of parking and taxes, and ultimately growth in businesses, employment, and residents. Down below, just showing you some of the brand identities, starting with Visit Norwalk. Norwalk for Business is the new one for economic and community development. And then, of course, working collaboratively and collegially with Park Norwalk and the city itself. In promoting Norwalk as a destination, we really saw an opportunity to leverage Visit Norwalk to support one platform that encompasses many neighborhoods and many assets in terms of that, visit, eat, dine, eat, shop, play, etc. Literally, we have a digital and social platform. What you see on the screen here is, a shot of the homepage of the website, which really serves as the communications hub. There's a tablet shot there of the Instagram profile, which is, one of the digital spokes back to the website as well too. And then in the phone is a graphic of an app we've started to develop. At least we're working on the design with the city itself that would support not only visitation, but serve as a customer service tool to be able to contact certain city departments. It will ultimately replace a current app that kind of serves as a way to report, people who park and block your driveway or not getting your trash picked up and things like that. So that's going to morph into something that's more all-encompassing, hopefully this coming year. In terms of business and parking support, as I mentioned, the Visit Norwalk brand and website was launched in August of 2021, so almost a year ago. It includes several business and attraction listings with opportunities for the businesses to add content through my office to support special events and promotions. It covers a number of events. The neighborhoods, it also includes sections on lodging, apartments, and office and business space. And again, we really see this as the hub of the wheel. In that realm, we promote themed holiday theme promotions such as holiday shopping guide and spring and fall restaurant weeks. We also have daily social media posts using Instagram and Facebook to again draw attention to specific events and drive traffic both to those events as well as back to the website for more information. We also send out weekly newsletters, two different versions, one aimed at visitors and one that's slightly different that has some content for businesses as well too. Again, always encouraging people who want to get involved that this is a free support tool to support their own marketing efforts. This is just some of the reporting. We send this report out monthly just to show, who we're reaching. In terms of the e-newsletters, we currently have almost 1,200 people who are on the consumer or visitor side of the equation, as well as businesses categorized in two ways. There's about 300 that are currently participating with us, i.e. they have, business listings and event listings on the website and are sending us content to push out through social and the newsletter itself, as well as we're keeping tabs on about 550 more prospective businesses. This grows pretty much daily and weekly by virtue of there's a big sign up form on the, as soon as you go to the website, there's a big sign up form that pops up where you can sign up that way, as well as we can opt people in. So in certain cases, if somebody has a database that or names they want us to add, we can populate that manually as well too. In terms of the website itself, since last August, it's attracted 21,000 visits through the end of June. If you look at that 10-month period, the new visits in June alone were trending higher than average. We had about 3,400 new visits that were accumulated in June. Over on the right is just some of the reporting from the social media. Again, in June itself, there were about 375,000 people reached by the Facebook posts and almost another 160,000 by the Instagram posts. This shows, I know you can't really see that, but the little squares are some of the most popular, if you will, daily posts that reach the most people. And then down below is just a simple demographic set of bar charts that just kind of shows a couple of interesting things. Even though the Facebook reach is higher than the Instagram, the engagement in terms of likes and follows is actually inverse. We have more people who are actually engaging with the posts on Instagram than we are on Facebook. One of the reasons we can attribute to that, we think, is if you look at those little bars that shoot up at the bottom, the Instagram really skews younger. It reaches much more of the two categories between 25, looks like I can't even read my own writing here, 25, 34 and 35, 44, and among women as well as men. So clearly we just see that Facebook is becoming more of the platform for old farts like me. And Instagram is one that's drawing much younger people who are more inclined to look at visuals than, I guess, to read the posts. That's anecdotal. That's not that's not substantiated by facts. There's also a tourism advertising campaign that's gone on through Sabrina's office. It was launched in October of 2021. Our objective in putting out paid advertising was to elevate brand awareness and visit Norwalk in a broader tri-state area, which encompasses a 35 to 50 mile radius around Norwalk, i.e. a 1 hour drive market. If you look at the map down in the lower right-hand corner, those two red circles kind of show you the radius of how far a 35 mile radius goes and how far a 50 mile radius goes. The calls to action from the advertising are to drive more traffic to the website, gain more social engagement and community outreach on the social side, and ultimately influence and increase visitors to come, do a daycation or a weekend or whatever in Norwalk. The primary target audience there is the adult and family audience, i.e. for family staycation or weekend, or romantic couples staycation or weekend, however you want to look at that, where in fact Norwalk is within a drivable distance, but they can also stay over, and have enough to do for a period of days if that's the case. Secondarily, we are reaching out to business owners and developers with the message of, Norwalk is a great place to develop or grow a business. The campaign is pretty digitally focused. That gives us broad reach into this geographic territory with a lot of targeting ability in terms of reaching that demographic, as well as people with certain interests and behaviors. And it's very data driven. So we can see, in terms of this report and other things, that we're getting the reach that we're after and paying for, as well as we're getting the response in terms of website visits and ultimately physical visits, which I'll show you in a minute. The campaign, again, launched in October. We're in the second phase, which the dates here are just kind of geared to the 2 fiscal years that we've been working on this so far. In terms of the ad strategies, we really looked at defining the reach as well as some of the spending based on a pretty traditional peak and off-peak visitation period. Of course, for New England, the peak is much longer. It's the warm weather months of April from November when there's just a lot more to do. And we go off-peak, so we kind of tail it off a little bit in the colder weather months of December to March. So you can see kind of the impressions levels, as well as the tables on the right kind of show you some of the strategies that occur during a peak versus a non-peak season. So we're always constantly using social and this tactic called geofencing, which I'll explain on the next slide, as well as doing some connected TV. Connected TV is also known as OTT, or over-the-top TV. It all means streaming TV, which means it's going through devices that people can connect to the internet through. They don't necessarily have to be tethered to the fiber optic or the coaxial cable. We also are using YouTube with video ads as well too. So that's all four, firing on all four cylinders, if you will, during a peak season, kind of tailing off a little bit to use more of the Facebook and Instagram and the geofencing in the off-peak months. This is going to be hard to read, but again, I'll give you the highlights. In terms of the digital results in June alone, there were 2,024 visits to the Visit Norwalk website, as well as the social pages that were generated from the digital ads. The geofencing can actually tell us how many people come for a physical visit by conversion. And you can see that the Facebook reach is a good, the Facebook paid reach is a good percentage, or a healthy percentage of the overall social media reach as well too. Mobile geofencing, what that is, if I haven't explained it to you in the past, is we can actually create virtual fences, if you will, within that target market, that 35 to 50 mile radius. So i.e. into the tri-state area, we can create fences around attractions that kind of mimic or mirror some of the attractions that Norwalk has as well. So an aquarium, if it's aquariums, if it's museums, if it's large shopping centers, arts venues, etc. When folks go into that geofence area and they have their mobile device with them, we can deliver ads to them for a period of time afterward through some of the apps and websites that they are visiting. Then we can we put conversion zones around some of these attractions in Norwalk, which are listed down here at the bottom right. So, around the concert hall in the city hall area, around the aquarium, around the Sono collection, and we can actually measure who actually comes in. So overall, between October and June, there were 677 physical visits as a result of this that we can track. And this June result of 179 people was 40% higher than May. So we kind of know that as the weather got warmer, we started to reach more people who actually made visits to the city. We have also spent some money with Hearst, Connecticut Media. This is the group that publishes the 6 major daily newspapers in Fairfield County and New Haven County. So Norwalk, Stamford, Greenwich, Bridgeport, New Haven Register, and the Danbury paper as well too. Again, this is primarily a digital campaign. I should point out that this group also owns Connecticut Magazine. So we've done some print ads in there as well too, supporting specific editorial. But some of the programs that we've done with them are sponsored content. So we've actually written some articles, advertorials, if you will, that address, family fun events, things to do as a couple, as well as the fairs and festivals that go out on the newspaper websites and measure the results on that. You're looking at some of the, click rates. It's really a numbers game in digital media where, sort of on average, anything above 0.05% click rate is considered above average. So all of these are doing pretty well, but we can see through some of this different media how some are doing much better. So socials performing better as well too. So we're utilizing some of the media social pages as well too, and they're promoting some advertising for us as well as some YouTube, and that OTT or that streaming TV is also accessible through Hearst. So we put about 3 million impressions out through Hearst Media Connecticut, in addition to the other digital and social that we're doing. The graphic just shows you one of those sponsored content articles that appeared on all the newspaper websites during the month of June. So this one covered, the arts festivals, the boat show, and the oyster festival, among others. And of course, each one has a photo gallery with it as well too. And then in the spring of this past year, so April through June, we did some broadcast television as well too, utilizing News 12. Again, they have regional coverage in that zones, and within those zones that are shown in the map. So within that 35-mile or inner circle radius, we reached into that whole circle that kind of covers Fairfield County, as well as into the Bronx and Westchester that are in that circle as well too. We were using 30-second spots and what they call billboards within morning news. So each, this hour of the news is brought to you by Visit Norwalk, and then the spot would play. So there were about 100 or so spots in each month, and that overall reached another 1.5 million people. So that's the ad campaign and some of the results that's brought in so far. Additionally, just to show you some of the other efforts we're working on, this is just a screenshot of the new website that we have in development. It'll be out, I think, by October for economic and community development. That will have useful tools for people looking to grow or expand or bring a visit to Norwalk, such as some of the things you see down at the bottom. Business support through the Office of Business Development and Tourism, incentives to bring a business to Norwalk, financial and otherwise. And then it'll have a site finder tool in there as well too, so people can actually see in real time different available properties. So it's going to have different categories of navigation in here too. So a lot of links to resources that are available, a lot of information on there in terms of opportunity zone, enterprise zones, et cetera. and then promoting the office itself as the next step in the conversation. As if you need some help, you have folks who are available in City Hall who are willing to help you through the process. Some of the things that you've probably seen, we worked with A-Lot Media, which I know is affiliated with LAS. So on some of your digital signage in there, we have some of the rotations that occur between other things. I think Hartford Healthcare is probably at the time was one of the other sponsors you have in the garage, but every so often these ads will pop up, visit Norwalk, and if people scan that QR code, it'll open up on their screen this lower graphic that enables them. It gives them links in real time to go to the website where the social page is to learn what's happening in terms of events that are occurring. We do know it's working, and we can track who's opening it. So the last time I checked, it was hundreds of people who've kind of clicked through on this and scanned this since they've gone by since we've put them up. Additionally, working with Jim and his group, specifically in the Sono train station garage, there were a number of, I think, open frames that hold printed posters. So Jim came up with this campaign that we assisted in the design for, that is, showcasing attractions in Sono itself for dining, play or recreation, shopping, et cetera, and highlighting businesses in those categories. What you see here is we indicate the posters indicate how long it takes in walking time to get to the attraction if you're interested, as well as some QR codes as well too to scan through to the website. So this is the series that have been developed so far. Working with the tourism office, we've developed street light pole banners, I should say, for each of the different neighborhoods. This is where we've gone so far, and are still in development for some of these. The newest ones are the MLK Drive ones that just went up. We've been working on some print literature too for sort of the transient visitor. So this is both sides of a trifold rack brochure that are in the visitor center, City Hall, et cetera. And then there was another one specifically, so a two-sided or single panel brochure, take one, if you will, for the historical attractions, working with the Historical Society Museum to put this together. Some of the print ads that were in Connecticut Magazine, as well as in some of the sponsored publications. Norwalk has a space in the Symphony program, for example, as well as in some of the chamber publications. So different creatives highlighting specific themed events like Restaurant Week, things to do with your kids, shop for the holidays as well too. And again, pointing people to the website to take a deeper dive and get more info. A set of business ads that have been developed for publications like the Fairfield County and Westchester County business journals. Again, these are highlighting new businesses and unique entrepreneurial, innovative, creative businesses that have developed in Norwalk, such as Lindsay's Ice Cream, a sort of a business that literally moved from her kitchen to a commercial kitchen and the need for larger space within a short period of time. And then just an example of some of the sub-branding opportunities for special events and otherwise we've worked with. So developing this specific logo to promote Pride Month in June and Pride of Sale, which is coming up next. And I think that's it. So if you all have any questions for me or suggestions, we can cover those.
So let me just start before I get, so we, for the new members of the board, so the Parking Authority has funded an effort for some time to look at promoting tourism and visits into the city with the intention of those visits translate into opportunities for these guests to park in Park Norwalk facilities. And this has evolved under Jessica's leadership. to really something that extends beyond just an initial effort of the parking authority to really something that is a branded effort for the city, not only to look at ways to gain additional visits into the stores, but to heighten our awareness of who's Norwalk and really expand it open to businesses, which ultimately have impacts into parking as well as these new companies might be parking in our facilities. So it's a huge pleasure to be able to work with Todd, and we really just wanted to share with you today an opportunity to see the work that Todd has been doing and get an opportunity to see the work that you've been funding.
Excellent, thank you. Does anybody have any questions or comments for Todd?
I have a question.
No, hi, Pam.
Hi, Todd, are you pulling just Norwalk events? Because I see just the Norwalk concerts. The first taxing district has concerts on the green. And I'm a third taxing district commissioner. We have concerts also at the beach.
Yeah, we are covering every neighborhood, every organization within city limits. So
okay, so you are pulling those.
Yeah. I mean, we're in direct contact with some of the event planners and organizers, as well as we scan every single week through the social networks, as well as Eventbrite and Patch, Norwalk Hour, et cetera, to try and find as many events as possible. We have certainly enough to cover. Like I said, we're posting every single day. So thankfully, there's just lots to do at all times, pretty much. But if we're missing anything, that's where anybody can get in contact with me directly through the email address, info@norwalkct.org. And that comes directly to me, and I can respond immediately and get information posted.
All right. Well, I'll have Cynthia, whenever we have events for the third taxing district, which is East Norwalk here down by the beach.
Yep.
I'll have Cynthia get in contact with you because she's running our social media right now. Her and Ron plan all these events that we have, because there's millions of Christmas tree lightings. We have bands, First District does it, we do it, the City Hall does it. So I was just wondering, okay, I'll have Cynthia, and I'll talk to my friends at the first taxing district and tell them to get a hold of you.
Yeah, they've been in contact. I know I've been working with folks. That's the green area.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've been working with them for a while to promote their events. I know they did something for 4th of July recently that we promoted as well too. But yeah, the more the merrier. So we like to have the events to push out. And again, we try and cover as much of the city as we can. We do have a focus on the urban core, but we want to make sure that we're promoting everything that's occurring in the city.
And I'll contact the administrator for the community Facebook page, and they can share, because I just liked you guys on Facebook and Instagram.
Perfect, thank you.
So I'll contact Barbara, and she can tell her people to start pulling from your Facebook page.
Perfect.
Yeah. People in Norwalk, the Norwalk residents are looking for events. So I'll have her, I'll contact her tomorrow.
Yeah, or again, anything you send to info@Visit Norwalk. It's not Norwalk CT. I think it's info@visitnorwalk.org will come to me.
Okay. I'll tell Cynthia at third taxing district.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Todd. Okay, so back on we did Haviland.
No, we haven't done Haviland yet. So the next up back up is Sirac for Haviland.
Perfect.
Good night, everybody. Thanks again.
Thanks, Todd.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Great work.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate all you guys. Thanks.
Thank you. Sirac?
Yes. Hi, everybody.
Down at Haviland?
Yep, Haviland deck repair. We've had some leak in the lower Haviland deck coming from the upper deck. We've investigated and found out the area where it was leaking, and we engaged the contractor that actually did the membrane or the coating work 2 years ago. And fortunately, we were under warranty, so they're gonna do the part where the warranty covers, and we also found some damages that will be covered under the maintenance expense line item in our operation, and they're gonna start the work. They ordered the material. Material is expected to arrive late August, beginning of September. So we're planning to have the work done by the end of August, September. And we have actually a walkthrough with the vendor this coming Friday to determine the areas that will be closed off for parkers. And so we can do a communication for our parkers, where to park and where not to park. And that's the update for Haviland Deck. Jim, if I missed anything in that repair.
No, this is it's an issue that was called out to us that it took us a little while to figure out where the leak was coming from and the cause of it. But Sirach did a great job of identifying that, but also really finding that this was actually going to be an item covered under warranty, so we avoided that as an additional charge. But as such, we still have 2 spaces that are out of commission until the leak is repaired in the lower level. But great job. Sirach, if you want to move on to, if there are no questions, that was just an update, but move on to the South Norwalk train station charging stations.
Sure. As it was reported last board meeting, the charging stations, these are charging stations for the cell phone charging for our South train station lobby area. That's as Jim, and the team took a dive at this and adding as commuters return back to the work, adding as an additional amenity and charging station at both New Haven bound and New York bound side. I have a picture of the charging stations to show. Jim, if you can stop.
Oh, let me stop sharing. Sorry.
Yeah.
While Sirach pulls that up, some time ago, the parking authority, we were looking at procuring these through our funds, and then we were able to negotiate a deal with Condot Rail, where we actually got them for free. We pay for the charging, but the other benefit to these are Condot Rail installed these in their stations throughout the line. So we have continuity in the train stations, so we look like a continued network. But Sirach?
Yep. And this is what the charging station looks like. This is the one by the New York bound, and this is the one by the east, the New Haven bound side. It's got different charging stations. The iPhone, Samsung, and the new iPod charger as well, and we've already started seeing people using it, and we've gotten some compliment from some of the customers as they using these charging stations. And as Jim mentioned, this was done for us, even though the board approved for a cost to have a charging stations. This was delivered by Condot and at no cost for the parking authority, except the wiring of the charging station to by our electrician.
And this is in our effort to provide additional services to commuters, and so this real the one the one that's in the New Haven bound side is also very close to where we have bus service as well. So it's we're diligently working at ensuring that facilities are clean and that they're friendly and they're updated. We're looking at painting of the Sono train station. We did the glass repair to the New York bound side, all in an effort to, as we welcome people back, that we're providing a level of increased service and expectation. So great job for the folks at LAS, and thanks for your help. That was a little bit of an update to see the stuff that we promote. I wanted to give you an update on the Webster lot. Last weekend, the work was completed from the prior project on the Webster lot. And in full disclosure, I have some concerns about the outcome, not of the quality of work by the contractor, but just some concerns on the initial design and what I perceive to be some potential safety issues. So we are meeting with the designer to come down. We might have to make some amendments to that, which is why we're securing some of the funds to do it. But you know, the project was really bioretention. So it's a large impervious surface, and when we have significant rain, being where we are, you know, and the angle of the parking lot, with the theater had gotten flooded on a number of occasions. And prior to my arrival, the folks here had secured a grant to implement a bioswale, underground water retention under the parking lot. And you know, I think the underground water retention will still serve well. Just I'm a little concerned about the bioretention ponds, you know, and just, you know, their close proximity to parking and having just like, you know, 18 inches to go down. So we're going to be meeting in next week with the designer to come back down, just to let you know, work will probably most likely continue on the Webster lot, but the first phase of the grant was done. So
Jim,
yes,
just I've seen those, and your concern with them again is?
So my concern is if you're in one of the parking spaces that are adjacent to it, you don't have a lot of room before you were able to stand on an island before, and now you're kind of navigating on a 6-inch curb to get in and out of your car.
I see. Okay.
You know, I think you won't really see it as an issue until you're the one that actually has to park next to it. And then you're like, oh, this is not good, right? You know, I think we can fix it. We can get through it. It's just, you know, I would, you know, if someone were to fall in, you know, we have a liability, and we're just making sure that, you know.
Yeah, good.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
Then on the Jim, that.
So we have some, so actually it's on me for the rest, since Todd went, since we did Todd. So under new business B, for a discussion of creating a 30-minute prepay feature. So James had put in as a 30-minute prepay feature, and I'd like to extend that in the conversation with you. But right now, the meters turn on when parking time starts, right? So if you were to arrive early, right, you have a challenge of being able to prepay for your time, right? I'd like to have that time begin as early as 6 a.m., right? So you would then, if you arrive at 6 a.m. and Pam and I are going to go to breakfast, and we know that we're going to be there until 10, I don't have to leave 9 o'clock and go pay the meter. I should be able to pay the meter for the hour that I want to start at 9 o'clock. So assuming that you all are fine, we'd like to investigate with the meter companies that are there to turn on a prepay feature that just allows us to pay for time before the meters start.
I think given the flexibility to end users in whatever way is beneficial. So do we need to vote on this, or just say?
So you could just, I think we could have an open discussion. I don't know if you were the ones that had created this, so not had been here. So we wanted to make sure that we brought it to you rather than just make the change in case you were the ones that put it on for 9 o'clock. You know, some of the downfall of you know, coming in just an hour a year later, like, is just like, we don't know what was voted on before. So we thought we would rather err on the side of caution versus that, and make sure that, you know, we were doing what the board looks to do. We think that this is kind of a no-brainer. Like, it's about customer service and convenience, right?
Yeah. I don't remember ever it being a topic that we acted on, but it certainly sounds like the right thing to do.
Okay, then we will make that happen.
Does anybody else feel differently?
No, I think it's a good idea.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. The next was an item in your packet for a discussion and a vote. We received a request from the Rotary Club for discounted parking at the Maritime Garage. It's item number 1, and the request came in as follows. The Rotary Club, a nonprofit organization, is currently considering a venue change for its semi-monthly luncheon meetings, whereby Norwalk Rotary members will need to consider parking at the Maritime Garage for their luncheon meetings that will be held at Mama Bella Restaurant, located at 19 North Water Street, on the 1st and 3rd Wednesday of the month from 12 to 1:30. So since the luncheon parking costs are important factors to our members' participation and the ability to meet, we kindly are asking for special consideration be granted by the Norwalk Parking Authority and LAS for the Rotary Club to help mitigate the parking costs for our members and our organizations who seek to meet and serve the important needs of our community. This is being up for you to vote. I would say that, we are looking, this is the Maritime Garage. It is a daytime request for discounted parking, and it is at a time that we are seeing, an increased level of parking coming from, largely attributed to the Maritime Aquarium. And I'd have some concerns on discounting parking for because how do we end it? How do we stop it? This right now the parking from is hourly, so it'd be 12 to 2 would be a total of $4 an hour that they would be requested to park today. Should they park inside the garage, or they could park at a lower rate for one of the on-street parking spaces. Metered parking spaces.
Well, selfishly, for South Norwalk, I don't recall Rotary events in South Norwalk. So they're a valuable organization. I'm not questioning that. But where's the focus of their events that they hold? Is it South Norwalk or is it somewhere else? Citywide, looking, it wasn't, when we looked on their website, it wasn't, anything specific. They might do something at beach or something, but it didn't list the special social events that we were having. So I don't know that there is anything specific to South Norwalk, but I wasn't able to really determine either way. Well, I mean, if rather than saying no, if everybody, everybody certainly chime in, but we could do something on a test. But I'm reluctant. Why aren't we doing it for veterans or active military or? Well, it was a little bit of our concern. Like when we give it to one group, how do we say no or yes to the next group, right? When do we do it? And also we're doing it at a key time. This garage is largely serving the Maritime Aquarium. We're seeing tremendous, particularly right now, the Maritime Aquarium is offering, free admission with a child and accompanying adult for the summer. So it's pretty busy over there. It's sometimes during the day. And as such, sometimes we even you'll recall we've gotten complaints of people having difficulty getting out of the garage just because so many people leave the aquarium at the same time. Right? It is a very, very busy time.
What's the hourly rate on the street? Is
$1.50?
Yeah. What is it in the garage there during the weekday?
$2 an hour.
Is that right, Rock?
Yes, that is correct.
And the Webster lot is $1 an hour also?
The Webster lot is, yes, it's $1 an hour, yes.
Okay. And North Water is $1.50 an hour, so.
Yes.
Okay.
So I have to chime in and say that the beneficiary of really the collective, right, is the restaurant. And so for us as parking board members, it seems like, you know, Jim, you made a great point that by making special exception, we're opening ourselves up to lots of different individual special exceptions. But in this particular case, we have a restaurant, which it seems to me it would be better that we have a conversation with the restaurant owner about potentially doing something for special events and allow the restaurant to work with us and work with Laz to do group rate, so that one, we don't lose out on revenue, but two, it allows some of these, you know, kind of more nonprofit community focused events to participate. I'm sorry, Rocky, did you? Oh, okay, sorry. Maybe that would be a better way for us to go, so that we're not opening ourselves up across the city.
So Matt, one of the things that we were you know, looking at investigating on how we could make this happen with our parking vendors is really, you know, like what I'd love to do is try to find, you know, a way that restaurants could incentivize, you know, so maybe there's a code that could get used, or that, you know, so that they would be, you know, so the parking authority remains full, but, you know, remains whole, right? But the restaurant then could do a cost share, like they could get it. So we're trying to identify a number of opportunities that we could present to restaurants, you know, that, you know, still gets the visitor in here, but, you know, still, you know, gets a, you know, a parking discount, and whether the restaurant takes it on as to get it closer or something. We're not there yet, so we don't have it. It's in very early, you know, we're talking about a number of different programs, you know, very similar to what we did with Todd, right? In marketing, but we want to know, once we get, are there things that we could do here? What are the things that we could do to make it easier? How do we get promotion to restaurants that say they see a value in people coming down, right? Because, you know, if you're coming down to a restaurant and you're spending, you know, $10 for a cocktail, you know, the $1.50 for parking is, you know, is not a lot, or, you know, that you're doing. But if we could work up some type of promotion, maybe we could have that absorbed into the bill or something. So we're looking at that. We're doing a pilot right now with 50 Washington on how they can get to manage their parking spaces that they lease from us a little easier. And if that's effective, which is what we think it's going to be effective, I think James did a slight presentation on that last month, right? We want to measure that and see if that could lead into additional parking promotions that we could do with facilities. But
don't we already have vouchers that we were selling in the past to restaurants that they could give to their customers?
We do, but it's kind of, those are really like, you know, kind of like they're, you know, I think they're an important part of a larger thing, but, you know, those are ones that that typically work for repeat visits. Like if you come back again, then you'd get one. We're trying to get something where, you know, if Matt and Pam are going to go for dinner at, you know, Prime Washington, Washington Prime, that, you know, at the time you're going, you could get that as part of your visit, right? And you know, so pull up to a meter and enter this code 12345, right? That's not a real valid code, just in case anybody.
But this is repeat. I mean, this seems to me ideal for it. It's these guys. If I don't know if anybody from Laz or James has talked to Mama Bella yet. But, you know, this is twice a month the Rotary wants to meet there. So it seems ideal for it, no?
Yeah, I think it is. We're just not ready to launch anything yet. We're in earlier infancy, but they're just looking for a discounted rate at this point, you know, and we put it out to you. It's up for your vote.
But we had it in the past and we don't have anything.
No, we don't have it. No, so the voucher program, Sirach, correct me if I'm wrong, the voucher isn't a discounted voucher, is it? If they could just buy the voucher and give it out, but Is it a discounted voucher?
No, it's not discounted. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just a voucher. Just when they come in next time, the restaurant will pay for it, but it's not at any discount at all.
What was there a years past? Was there a coin or something we had, Rocky, that people? What was that voucher a couple of years ago?
Those are the tokens that
Those tokens, yeah.
Tokens, yep, but they're still not discounted. I know we run a discounted one in uptown area a couple of years ago, but we stopped that. But right now, we're just, the restaurant will buy the tokens or the voucher in advance
at full cost.
At full cost, and then they'll give it to the customers.
But can't we just change the cost?
I think that's what Jim.
Can we just decide to take less for a coin?
Yeah, we can do that, but I think that's what Jim wants to get that approved. Do you want to give the discount or not?
Okay, so maybe we, if I'm hearing everybody correctly, maybe we respond that we are most certainly open to finding a path forward on this, but we don't have one now. And if there is a way to integrate either the coin or a voucher, then we could do that. But I agree with Matt that that it sounds like a way to devise a path forward. And Jim, what's the timing on figuring something out?
So we just did like the first kind of rollout of just monitoring on how it is. So I don't know that we have a Staffy, are you?
Yeah.
Can you say something?
I was going to chime in if you don't mind. So right before COVID hit, we did have a merchant validation program. If the current board members remember, that we were trying to roll out, and it kind of got stalled because of everything. And if that's, Jim, kind of what you're talking about, maybe we can dust that off and you can look at it and see if that's something like you might want to do, because it involved those prepaid coupons and tokens. And the thought was that there would have been some trial period or pilot to sell those at a discount like you were talking about, and to see if there was any traction.
The movie theater also used to have something where they were able to put time.
Yeah, there was actually, I think, a yoga studio too in Wall Street, right, Rocky?
Yeah, she told me she bought some. I talked to her.
So there are pieces there that maybe could be either reinvented or built on. What's their timing of starting their twice a week lunches?
They have not given a time yet. They just said they're considering it.
Then I would say we're considering accommodating them somehow.
Okay.
I mean, right, everybody?
Yeah. So what's our next step then?
We will investigate some options and put something in front of you next board meeting.
Sounds good.
All right. Okay.
I think Matt's point is excellent. That if there's some way that the restaurant, the beneficiary, as he put it, is the point on this, the better it is, and not the parking authority. It's a program that we work out with the restaurant.
Yeah.
Not the Knights of Columbus.
Yeah.
Or Rotary.
Rotary.
Oh, sorry, Rotary.
Yeah, but then we'll get the Exchange Club, we'll get the Knights of Columbus, we'll get them all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that all the more reason for the restaurant to do it, right?
Yeah. Yep. I mean, because then it's also it's the Maritime Center, right? We're getting our people, so I do think it's a slope that's hard to, like.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, too. I mean, the way some of these lunches work, if you buy, I don't know how they do when they come to settle their bill, but if whatever they pay includes the tip, then whatever they pay could also include some portion of parking.
Yeah. All right. We will we'll work on it. We'll work on something and come back with you with the presentation.
The restaurant would probably just write that off as advertising, as a promotion. So,
right.
It would just come out of their bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
they could do it even without us. I mean, they could just take it off the ticket initially.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Great. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. All right. The next item is the Lobster Craft lease. Item number 2 for the discuss and vote would be, this is a recommendation from our corporate leasing agent for the newer members of the board. We moved our leasing to a corporate leasing agent to oversee it, since, quite honestly, we should do what we do well, and that's parking, and leasing we should leave to the people who do well, right, and give it to a leasing agent. So we do have a leasing agent who wrote to us as follows. For our conversation on Friday, I spoke with Mike regarding the Lobster Craft lease. There are 2 options we discussed, one of which would be a 6-month lease with the option to go month to month after the 6-month period, first with a 60-day notice before vacating. The second option Mike and I discussed, the I is coming from our leasing agent, discussed is a 2-year lease with the option to sublease. Mike has a partner that wishes to utilize the space, and his option to sublease would be to his partner. If the board is comfortable, the second option I think would be the best for both parties. Your team would be able to lock in a tenant for at least 2 years, and would also give Mike's partner the opportunity to lock into a lease under the same conditions. The parking authority and board would still have the final say in the sublease, giving the opportunity to have our due diligence regarding the new tenant. This is relating to the fact of, the leasing agent worked at correcting an error in the lease, and we were updating the new lease, and with the the updating of the new lease voids the old lease. The Lobster lease is actually looking at taking over a commercial kitchen, a larger commercial kitchen for his facility. So he didn't see that he had a need for a longer term lease, which is why but he did present 2 options to our leasing agent. One is 6 months. He's not really sure on the time frame of the commercial kitchen. So one, he was asking for either give me the current lease as a 6-month lease, and then I'll do month to month after, and I'll give you a 60-day notice to vacate, when I leave, or give him, he'll sign a 2-year lease with the ability to sublease to his partner. And then the board has the approval of accepting who the subleasee is. The leasing agent felt that option 2 was a better option to go with. So it is up, since everything really falls under your vote, it is your vote whether we want, whether we wanted to do one of those 2 options.
So if there's anything to discuss, let's do that first.
Jim, real quick, do any of the terms, any of the monetary terms differ from what we discussed back in the May? No.
No, it would still be the same monetary term. So he's accepting the monetary term lease, just looking at a different time period. Okay,
and correct me if I'm wrong, but the vast majority of it was a remeasure.
Yes,
like square footage remeasure.
Yes.
Okay, and so
it's the same square footage, but just actually getting the correct measurements of the space.
Fair enough. And so, from my perspective, a 2-year with a sublease option is definitely more advantageous than a 6 with a month-to-month and a 60-day out for certain. Are there any other termination rights that we're granting the Lobster Craft?
No.
Other than okay, then yeah, that's it for me.
Okay.
Pam?
I would go with the 2-year lease. Sublease, that's more advantageous for us.
Okay.
Judd, any thoughts?
I think the 2-year.
Okay, so then let's just take that as a motion to approve the 2-year scenario as described.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you.
All right, we will have the leasing agent update a new lease for you to sign, Eric.
Okay.
Our last item was, in our review, it looks like the parking authority took the month of August off. You skipped August in the past. We wanted to know if you wanted to continue to skip August, if you wanted to hold an August meeting, or move your next meeting time to September.
Nothing comes to mind that would prevent us from taking August off, as far as anybody else?
I'm fine to meet, but if other people don't want to, that's okay too. So obviously.
I'll withhold judgment until we settle old business. Sorry, Judd, I just have to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Maybe that's what we should do. Do the old business and go from there.
Okay. So then moving on to old business was back to you with the simplifying the parking rules for the Wall Street area. To remind you, we had a parking meeting with we've actually had several meetings with the Wall Street area on parking, on garage design, on the Wall Street redesign that we're undergoing as well. One of the items that came up was and continues to come up was that our signage was confusing. When we have 2 and 3 hour signs, people felt that it was confusing. We were proposing that we would, for 2 things, there wasn't much, we didn't believe that there was much of a difference between 2 hour and 3 hour, and we could simplify the sign much easier by just doing 3 hour parking for the 9 to 9 period. It allows for a new signage. I believe it was Judd had some concerns on some of the businesses. We did meet with Judd to talk about some of the things, and then we did get, so we had a petition that people had signed for at the Wall Street kickoff meeting. But we did specifically go, James did specifically go to businesses, that were non-restaurant related, to see their take on a simplified sign. So he went, and we have a petition. And sorry, I didn't get it to you included in the packet, but it's signed by Angela at Thrift, Costa Jewelers, the clothing store that is next to Costa Jewelers, so Danny and Nick, and McMahon Ford, and the new Ambatano Bakery. So those were short ones that he got in an area that was in support of a simplified sign, in addition to the other restaurants that had. And we are seeing that even though we have a 2 hour during the day max sign, we are seeing that the usage is really 0.8 hours is the average. So people aren't maxing out at the 2 hour today. We don't anticipate that they would max out at the 3 hour given that option, but we think that it could simplify it. So the request proposal is still made to simplify the sign to a 3 hour max stay.
Okay, so this is something we need to vote on, right?
Yes.
If there's more discussion, let's do that. But otherwise, we'll take a motion.
Is Judd satisfied?
Yeah. The only thing going forward, I just would like to see, the parking times for, I know, Jim, you mentioned doing this initially for 3 months, I think, right?
We could, yeah, but so our proposal is for it. You could make a motion to have it for a period of time.
Yeah, and then if we could just get that data, you know, for those 3 months and see. My concern, as I said last time, is wait staff coming in at 3:30 or 4 o'clock and parking right in front of the restaurants and things. And we want to try and leave that open for the customers. So, but yeah, if we can couch it as a 3-month trial, and if things are going well, maybe extend it for another 3 months, and we can see that data, or at least I can, if nobody else wants to, then I'd say, let's give it a try.
So Judd, what you're looking for is for that 0.8 hour average use to remain unchanged.
Yeah, or not, you know, I guess to, again, if restaurant staff comes in at 4 and they pay for 3, they're good to 7, and then they can go pay again. I don't know if there's some way to monitor that. If it's yeah, with pay by plate, you could see if they're extending their time on the street, right? Because ideally we want those people in the Yankee Doodle garage or the surface lot.
Right.
Right. But just for clarification, you know, the on-street parking has a 3-hour max, right? So if you pay again, you're illegally parking, right? They get a parking ticket. Oh,
okay. Okay. I wasn't clear on that. That gives me, I'll sleep better at night, Jim.
Okay.
Okay.
So you'd have to go move your car, is what you're saying.
Yes.
I see. Okay.
Well, that's
why we always say for a longer term visit, you're better off in the garage, right? Because the garage has no time limits when the streets have time limits to promote turnover.
And you have to move your car out of that zone. It's not just moving it, it's out of the zone.
Yeah. Okay. Let's give it a try.
And you can't bring it back within 24 hours.
Correct.
Okay, so Judd, is that a motion? Or
yeah, I'll make a motion to approve a 3-month trial period for 3-hour parking.
All in second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you. All right, so back to August meeting. Was that it for all business? I think it is, right?
So that's it for all business. Rocky, if you could just tickle file to provide in 3 months, provide you know, what's the average day occurring on Wall Street?
We'll do that, Jim. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And back to, so that does it for old business. We're back to whether you want to have a meeting in August or not.
Is there anything coming up in August that on your schedule that we need to discuss?
No, I don't think we do. No.
I'm sure that there's always something, but
there's always something. We're always going to find something, but I don't think there's anything pressing that we have planned for an August meeting at this point. I think we look at that because, you know, like there's a lot of vacations that take place, and we are here to support you. So whatever you guys want.
I have no problem.
Okay. So let's take that as do we need to vote on this or just do it?
We have to vote on it. You should vote on it.
You should vote on it. It should be a discussion vote. I just looked at the thing. I'm sorry that it wasn't put up as a vote, but you should vote.
So Pam, can I take that as a motion?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to I can't think of the word, to skip the August
hiatus.
2022.
Hiatus.
We'll suspend the August
suspend
meeting, and we'll return in September.
Yes.
I forgot the month.
And then a second.
Second.
Thank you, Matt. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, great. Thank you. And with that, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'd like to. Okay. Oh. Go ahead, Matt. You can do it.
Oh, no.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.
Eric,
Have a
just
good
let me know.
night.
Let me know when would be a good time to meet. To just you need to sign that for the contracts for Kpis.
For me?
Yeah, the last month we voted on that, so we readied the contract. That's why I was going to meet with you earlier just to sign.
Yeah. Okay, I'm around. Hopefully, I'm negative tomorrow, and then I can do whatever.
All right, then let me know. All right.
Okay, we'll do.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
All right.
Have a good August.
Thank you. You too, Pam. All right. Bye-bye.